So there's been a bit of a gaffe from the Conservatives. Their first election broadcast shows the Union Jack the wrong way round. So, and there are people who take this stuff very seriously. There it is. They've got it upside down, and that is an internationally recognised distress signal.
Sums up the Conservative campaign.
Well, maybe. But then we were talking earlier, just you and me, about, you know, maybe getting attention is the main thing. And if Ed Davey falls off a paddleboard, then it's not, you know, people talk about it. Is that what it's about? I don't know.
It's an element of an election campaign that is, of course, about grabbing people's attention in a way that sort of demonstrates the issues that are important to you. So
if you can't get the national flag the right way up, you've got a problem.
And then you grab people's attention in a bad way.
And especially when you're the Conservative Party, in which you are supposed to be trying to look as though you are patriotic, as though you're the party of the economy, and you can't even get the British flag the right way round.
So the Conservatives will have seen yesterday as a bad day, I think. Let me show you some of these front pages over here. 2 reasons it's a bad day for them, OK? First one is that they are under threat from Reform, who've now been amped up by the arrival of Nigel Farage, as the Sun call him. And then Mail says it's Rishi's darkest hour. And Farage saying he's back, he's going to lead Reform. So Richard Tice, who we've had on this show a bit, moves to one side. Seems to be amicable, can't really tell. Farage's return. And then the Mirror says meltdown. Vote for Farage is more likely to end up. So the Express doing the Conservatives' job for them there, saying you're more likely to get Labour in if you vote Farage, and so on and so forth. Farage yesterday was saying, you know, actually a lot of his supporters come from Labour. We'll see. The other thing that went badly wrong for the Conservatives yesterday was this. So this is a YouGov poll, a bit of Daily Mail graphic we printed out for you. And this is essentially, it's quite a thorough poll, 60,000 people polled, and they're looking at the constituency by constituency predictions. So that gives it a little bit of weight. You never know, got another month of the campaign, but Labour 42%, Conservatives 24%. Would be a massive majority for Labour, 422 seats. And the Conservative, this is the key figure here, 140 now, the worst post-war performance by the Conservatives, which is when Blair won, Jacqui got into Parliament, 1997, 165. So this is 140 here for the Conservatives, if this poll is correct. The amazing thing is here that the Lib Dems would quadruple their number of seats. SNP get a hammering as well in Scotland, and Labour take seats there. But that is, goodness me, if you're the Conservatives, it's mind-blowing, Jacqui. It's the night shift, isn't it, for 10 years if that happens?
At least 10 years, yeah. I first fought a general election in 1992 when...
Oh, you were there before Blair?
I was there when we thought we were going to win in 92 and then we didn't. I am very, very Conservative with a small c and cautious about this. I mean, it's pretty good news for Labour and pretty bad news for the Tories, but not a single vote has been cast yet. And traditionally, the polls close as we get towards an election. Let's not forget, Theresa May went into an election in 2017 feeling very positive about her lead and was nearly defeated. So, you know, as a Labour supporter, I'm not getting carried away.
You and I have talked about where the key measure of the election, in a way, the simplest measure, is how many Tory seats there are at the end of it. Because that's a really clear figure. Now, is it going to be below 165, do you think?
I think it's going to be about 150. And I will say what's going to be most interesting this year, at least from that perspective, is not the general election, because I think a lot of us know exactly where that's going to go, but the leadership election that will inevitably follow for the Conservative Party. I think what's going to be
jump
really...
ahead too far.
Well,
okay. We're just enjoying this moment.
I know, but you say that. But actually what's going to be interesting is who those 150-ish Conservative MPs are, because they will be the people that will be voting for the next leader of the party. Now, I would argue the Conservative Party has lost a lot of its ideological direction. You've effectively got the highest tax burden since the Second World War. The Conservative government, the party of freedom, trying to ban smoking, trying to implement a lot of these different policies that the party traditionally would be against. Again, the party of Churchill trying to ban smoking. And then you've got other areas of policy in which the Conservatives have entirely abandoned those principles. I think the most interesting part of this year is going to be the ideological battle battle for the heart and soul of the Conservative Party.
You're joking. The most interesting part of this year is the general election result. Come on.
But we know what's going to happen.
Don't say that. That's what Jacqui said. Be careful with that, Reem. We don't. It's a poll, that's all. But so we're going to see a bit of Kemi Badenoch later on in the news belt because she's done something to do with trans rights. I'm thinking she could be the next leader. But I also think if Farage wins Clacton, and he's sitting there right next to those 150 Conservatives, let's say, I think they might think he's the one we need.
Oh, he's going to be stirring some trouble on the backbenches.
If they're out of power for 10 years, why are you interested in them?
I think because effectively what you're going to see is this battle for the heart and soul of the party.
But why does it matter?
Because it'll matter because there'll be opposition. And Nigel is going to try and be an alternative opposition. He said this in the press conference yesterday.
I think he said he's going to try and take over the Tory party.
Well, yeah, he's not. Remember, this is his 8th attempt at getting elected as an MP. That's not to say he hasn't had an impact on British political life. I think he has done. He might win in Clacton, I don't know. I mean, the key point, as Reem says, is his leadership of reform will probably boost them by a few percentage points. That is a massive impact on the Tory vote. In my former constituency, which is now, according to this poll, in play to be a Labour seat again.
I'm sure it
given
will be.
that, well, no, because the boundary has changed it.
Good point.
The Tory majority is 3 times as big as it was when I lost in 2010.
Right.
But it is now in play. The former Tory MP is writing to people relentlessly about reform. Not about the future Tory government.
Among the other things that happened today, Grant Shapps is one, because he is standing again well in Hatfield is his seat. That looks red on that map. And Jeremy Hunt as well in Surrey, Penny Mordaunt as well. Grant Shapps was told live on TV that he was predicted to lose his seat after he called Sky News' Sam Coates while Sam was on the air.
And I can tell you, Sophie, Grant Shapps is phoning me.
Take the call.
Yeah, that's
Grant
a good idea.
Shapps is just calling Sam Coates. So it's on his Apple phone. Give him a little minute to get it up, but he is going to take it now.
Hello, Grant Shapps. You're live on Sky News. I'm in the studio with Sophie Ridge. Have you just seen that you're about to lose your seat according to the Sky News YouGov projection? He just put the phone down on me. There we go.
You would.
That's hilarious.
The Lib Dems have been pulling out all the stops with their election stunts, and whether they're good or bad, they are getting us talking about them. Yesterday, some Lib Dems photobombed the Prime Minister. So actually, credit, that's good. So he was in Henley, down the Thames there, and they floated by with their deputy leader, Daisy Cooper, holding placards, waving from a boat. Maybe we like the Lib Dem stunts now, Reem.
I think that Ed Davey's entire strategy has been to look a little bit silly, and I think that Jacqui mentioned this earlier, that actually the only time we are listening to the Lib Dems and what they have to say is when Ed Davey is doing something silly.
But this poll is great.
And it's working.
The thing is, I was looking yesterday, this is how sad my life is, learning a list of the Lib Dem target seats. There are virtually no Labour seats in the top 100. Yeah. The first 10 or 20, but they're all Tory, but they are only maybe 1-2% behind the Tories in some of them. So it only takes the Conservatives to go into a little meltdown and they pick up 20 seats.
But reform will split the right vote. And then I think that's the point. With Nigel especially now taking over as leader, there is going to be an increase in votes for the Reform Party. We're going to see a split in the right vote, and that will probably, I think, boost the Lib Dems' chances.
I'm only shaking my head because I still don't think that the most exciting thing of the year is what happens to the Conservative Party after the election. I think it's the election.
Do you know, I think that is quite interesting,
well, yeah. But my goodness, if you're Keir Starmer, you're thinking, OK, politics is never this good, is it? And the answer is, as you know...
Keir Starmer will be being super cautious, I hope.
OK.
I hope he's not taking any vote for granted.
So he caused Rishi Sunak, this is Farage now, a bit of a headache yesterday by announcing standing as an MP for Clacton, taking over a leader of the Reform Party. So let's talk about Farage, OK, after the break.